Hey folks, welcome back. My name is Dr. Peter A. James, and welcome to COD as we sit here and reflect on the 2020 spring semester. This semester started out like any other, selecting your favorite seat in the classroom, forming your teams or groups and projects, and navigating essay deadlines. Then March 16th happened. The COVID-19 crisis, and COD suspended all on-campus classes due to this unprecedented pandemic. And so what we've done here today is we've brought together 3 students who are sharing their experiences about, first of all, how that transition was, but then how it was afterwards and now into the foreseeable future. So we have Azin, we have Johnny, and we have Kelly. Folks, I want to ask you guys in that order to introduce yourselves and tell us your major for that matter. Azin.
Well, hey everyone, my name is Azin Matloubieh. I'm majoring in business human resource management, and I'm working at community relations office at COD.
Cool. Johnny.
Hi everyone, my name is Johnny. I just finished my second year at COD, so I'll be transferring to UIC in the fall, majoring in bioengineering, and I used to work at Student Life.
Hi there, my name is Kelly. I'm a returning student trying out a new thing and going into the nursing program. So far I'm loving it.
So awesome. Thank you guys for sharing who you are for sure. Let's just jump right in. And as you reflect on the entire semester, how was it overall? Who wants to jump in on that one first?
I can start. So yeah, I didn't really think that the semester was as bad as I initially thought it was. I thought that it would be a lot more difficult to kind of transition into an online format.
I feel like at first it was very confusing since we had no idea how professors want to keep teaching online. Since I knew that some of the professors never had online teaching experience. But eventually I can say right now that they did an amazing job with that. They adjust themselves very good, very awesome. But I would say at first it was very confusing for everyone, but after that, everything just, I think it was very perfect. Everyone adjusted perfectly.
I would like to go back to the professors. They did a really good job and really quickly adjusted to an online format. I know that a lot of my professors were really stressed with changing their entire curriculum so quickly, and they still maintained communications with other students. So I applaud them for that.
Good stuff. But, you know, I have to throw another one back out there. And thank you so much for mentioning the professors. Definitely a challenging job to switch a face-to-face class to an online class in the drop of a hat and within a week's time frame, really. I want to stay on a little bit of you guys and your feeling. You signed up for face-to-face classes, right? All of you signed up for face-to-face classes. And now you're being told you don't have an option anymore. You're doing online classes. How did that make you feel, especially in the outset? Did you feel like you were able, you were going to be successful, or was there a level of unknown initially?
Yeah, so there was definitely a level of unknown in the beginning. I wasn't sure how I was going to be successful, just because I haven't taken online classes where my engineering courses would be online. And so that was a bit unknown at first, but you know, once I talked to my professors and they explained to us different types of ways that we could approach to be taught, then I felt a little bit more comfortable with that.
After a few weeks, the professors had the syllabus for my classes at least changed, and everything was very clear. Everything was according to online format, so nothing was very hard. None of the assignments was hard doing it online, so everything was for online format, and it was nothing very hard, or everything was clear.
But were you nervous at all, Azin, going to online?
Yeah.
She says, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Kelly, what are your thoughts? What about you? Were you nervous? Was there anxiety?
Oh, absolutely. I think anybody going into something blind, not knowing what the end result is going to be, is going to have a little anxiety behind it. But my professor had a lot of issues the first week with the bandwidth and PowerPoints getting in and out. So it was more on the technical side. So if anything, at least for me personally, I was trying to be support for her because I know what it's like to do something new. But overall, it was, besides the first week, it really wasn't that bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Could have been worse for sure.
Yeah. So going back to what I said, I felt it was definitely an unknown feeling at first, but then I felt pretty happy with the decision that COD made, just because I knew that I could stay home and keep my family safe, to make sure that I was keeping distance from other people. So I was definitely happy with that decision.
Here's actually a quick question about this. You know, a lot of times you sign up for face-to-face learning because you feel like you're going to be more successful there. Now you're shifting to online learning just quickly like that. Do you still think you're going to get that A?
At first,
Yeah.
I
And
didn't think so.
Be honest with me. Yeah.
Yeah, at first I didn't really think so, because my classes like circuit analysis or differential equations are pretty difficult, and learning through a computer screen is definitely not the same as learning in person. It's not as effective, but we found a way through. So I got good grades, so it worked out.
For some of the classes, I thought that I'm not gonna able to get an A. For example, for Calc, I was just thinking that how my professor wants to teach online. I can say she did an amazing job, but at first I was like, probably I'm going to drop the class. But after a few weeks, I was like, no, well, probably I can keep going with this format.
Yeah, thank you for your honesty with that, Azin. Because that's sometimes a reality that crosses our mind. Dropping the class, I'm not going to see this through because I don't know what I have to expect if I'm setting myself up for success. But it sounds like even through all the changes, you were able to be, you still able to be successful. So thank you for sharing that for sure. So, Kelly.
Overall, since the pandemic is going on, and unfortunately it's probably not going to go anywhere anytime soon, I had the mental capacity of, okay, this is probably going to be how it is the rest of the year. So I wasn't working and I was just going to school. So there was no reason to not get the A. It wasn't an option. So I made it work.
Good for you. That's that resilience and determination, right? For sure. Good stuff. So here's one of the final questions I want to ask you guys. As you think about future students who may be following you, they may have thought about face-to-face classes, but now their online classes are a reality, and they're having to really say, this, what do I do? How do I make it? How can I get this A? What advice would you give to those future students, especially knowing then what you know now? How would you prepare yourself better moving forward? Johnny.
Yeah, so a struggle that I went through throughout the rest of the semester was procrastination. Procrastination was my biggest problem. It's very easy to get distracted at home, unlike on campus where I'm there to study and to learn. So I wasn't distracted there. But what I found to be most helpful to overcome that challenge was to create a routine and a schedule to follow, because following a routine keeps my mind in check to make sure that I have to get things done. So that's what helped me.
I like that a lot. A routine, a structure to a certain extent. I like that there, Johnny. Thanks for sharing. Azin, what about you? What would you tell future students?
I would say there are a lot of resources available at COD for them, such as Learning Commons. They have tutors for all the classes. The Counseling Advising Center, there are many counselors and advisors that are very happy, that they would be very happy to help you with your learning process and your transition. So I would say, don't hesitate. If you need help, just ask for it. There are people who that's their job, and they would be so happy to help you with this process.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Azin. And I definitely want to reiterate that all of the resources that are available to you, if we were on campus, are also still available to you online. Definitely go to cod.edu, whether it's the Learning Commons, the Resource Center, admissions, advising, everything is still open as normal, business as usual, just a little bit remote. That's all. Kelly, what about you? What would you tell yourself if you had to do it all over again?
Be kind to yourself. It's a transition for a reason. If you're feeling a certain way, I guarantee the entire class is. So don't be afraid and don't be too proud to ask for help. Because that was something I struggled with initially. I was like, I can have it. I can take this on, but you know what? It's a lot going on, and everyone's got something to figure out. So ask for help and don't be too proud to not ask.
Yeah. So going back to resources, even though there are there are on campus, the campus resources are still available to you at home. Students should definitely check out resources online, especially with their classes. They can still find tutors like on YouTube, find some documents on Google that can help them study a little bit better, or even forming study groups with other classmates, because that's what helped me the most.
Very, very cool. And another plug on to piggyback on that, Johnny, the COD library still is open. Librarians are available to you to check out books, to check out articles. You can get a library card. All that kind of stuff is also available to you. What is not available? Starbucks, Chick-fil-A. I'm sorry, you guys, just to let you know that's not there for you. I know you miss it. So any parting notes from you guys at all? Thank you so much for joining us, for sure. But any parting comments or parting notes overall?
Yeah, so to the future students, just make sure that you guys are adaptable. It's very important that you keep adjusting to what it makes you comfortable and makes you work more efficiently. As long as you constantly change things until you are successful, then you'll make it through.
Ladies and gentlemen, Azin, Johnny, and Kelly, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much on behalf of future students and our current students. You guys have really set blazed trails, and I just want to give you guys all show my appreciation for sure. Thank you so much, folks. Until next time, have a great day.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.